Hey guys, Brian Hollock from North Point Training Center. I'm here at the Firearms Academy of Seattle campus in Onalaska, Washington. This is an amazing facility if you get a chance to come out here. We're talking about probably a dozen or more ranges, long range, short range, shotgun ranges, rifle ranges, handgun ranges, and we're here at a Masada Ayub group class, and that's a class taught by Mr. Masada Ayub. I'm going to try to run inside and see if I can grab somebody to come out and chat with you real quick. And there's a plethora of instructors here, and hopefully we can catch some interviews and you can learn a little bit more about what it is that they do. All right, folks, that's what I promised you. I was able to wrestle up Marty Hayes. He's had a busy schedule here, running around trying to make sure that this Masada Ayub group, very frankly, really large class, goes off without a hitch. But, and I've talked about Marty in the past. He's the director of the Firearms Academy at Seattle. It's a pretty awesome facility down here. If you get a chance to come take some training, multiple ranges, probably a dozen or more ranges, shotgun, rifle, pistol. I mean, they're prepared for everything. And not just your conventional type classes. You got to move on to moving targets. Marty and I just did a pocket guns class, which I thought was fantastic. So really not your typical training facility. If you get a chance to come down, I highly recommend it. But why I kind of wrestled Marty in today, and thank you, Marty, for putting us in the shade because it's a super sunny day.
No problem. One of the few sunny days we get here.
That's right. That's right.
We flee from the sun.
Marty's got something really unique. Marty is also the founder of the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network. And this is a different kind of an organization, something that you guys may not have heard about, something that, frankly, its time has come. I think this is something that is really catching on, and this is a network really for people that have embraced the concealed carry lifestyle, that may have gone out, taken some training, tried to improve their skills with a firearm, but frankly don't have that extra support network in case something really bad happens. Marty, when did you first come up with the idea of forming a network like this?
Back when I decided to go to law school, 2003, I enrolled in an internet-based law school out of California called Concord Law School. And after a couple of years of taking classes online, evenings, weekends, that sort of thing, I hit upon the idea of putting together this nationwide organization for armed citizens that, in the event that one of us is prosecuted or sued after a legitimate act of self-defense, and frankly this is being done the day after the George Zimmerman verdict came in, showing that he was in fact wrongfully prosecuted because he was an innocent man. But anyway, if one of us was prosecuted or sued, then the power of this network would kick in and help that person defend the lawsuit or the criminal act. And so, or the criminal action against him. And so that was the purpose behind it. The idea was that if we can get a whole bunch of people, thousands of people, to join up and just pay like a regular membership fee, then we would have enough money that we could set aside and be able to help defend a very expensive lawsuit, and that's where we're going with it.
And folks, so you guys get an understanding of this. A lot of you have taken advanced training. A lot of you have done all the right moves. But let's talk about the world before the network. Mm-hmm. Let's say I'm an armed citizen, I've taken training, I've done everything necessary, but before the network, gosh, I would have had to go try to find a local attorney that knows something about personal defense, and that's not all that common, is it, Marty?
No, in fact, the number of attorneys that really know a lot about self-defense is pretty limited. In fact, in my law school experience, I got all of 90 minutes on self-defense law in law school.
Well, there you go. And I'll echo that, folks. I had 3 years of law school at Seattle University School of Law, and my recollection was 30 minutes. It was a 1/2 of one lecture in criminal law in my very first semester of law school, which was frankly nothing. But you have to go out now, try to find a trained guy. You have to try to figure out if this guy knows any kind of an expert to bring in, and how important are experts in these kinds of cases?
Well, experts are vital because typically it is the expert who can explain to the jury why the physical evidence or some of the psychological issues surrounding this event took place. Explain why the physical evidence shows that you were in fact innocent of a crime, and that it documents, or the word I'm looking for, it corroborates your version of the events. Because typically what happens is there's two versions of an event. Your version and the narrative or the whatever the prosecution wants to put forward. And typically that is a convoluted, kind of halfway made up version of the events. And so you have to be able to come in and tell the people or tell the jury what the physical evidence does to basically prove that your story is correct.
And even before all that, folks, listen, some of you guys are out there, you're thinking, hey, I'm going to go get that high-priced criminal defense attorney, that guy that gets the master drug dealer off or the infamous criminal off. And really, the defense is very different for an innocent person, right? I mean, how do we even know, if we don't have access to a network like yours, how to even pick the right kind of attorney?
Well, I mean, you don't know how, you know. You'd think that a good criminal defense attorney would be what you'd want, but frankly, the experience that most good criminal defense attorneys have is trying to poke holes in the prosecution's case and poking enough holes to where they meet that burden that, or they cannot beat the burden of proof beyond a reasonable doubt. The issue is, in a self-defense case, the burden shifts to you, the individual who used the firearm in self-defense, because the state laws are written to the point where you are innocent of any crime if the preponderance of the evidence shows that you committed this act of killing someone justifiably. So that burden is now shifted to you and your legal team, and you can no longer simply poke holes in the prosecution's case, but instead you have to put on your own case of why you were legitimate, reasonable, and lawful in using deadly force in self-defense.
And, you know, there's another aspect of this that I think a lot of people ignore. This is kind of more my aspect, is the civil side. You can be sued civilly as well, and they could literally take your entire, everything you've worked for, take it apart in the matter of a year or two and leave you pretty economically destitute, can't they?
Yeah, a criminal defense will run probably around $100,000, maybe more. Like the George Zimmerman case, they've run up a whole lot of legal bills because in Florida you have the right to depose all witnesses, and there's like 100 witnesses in this case. Well, each deposition probably costs $1,000 to $2,000 to take. Well, bingo, you're up to $200,000.
Sure.
In a civil case, though, it's much different. You can double the amount of money you're going to spend on a civil case as opposed to a criminal case.
And so, whereas you might have had some inkling of going and getting that bad boy criminal defense attorney, who the heck knows how to find a good civil attorney that knows anything about self-defense law? So, you know, the picture I'm trying to paint, folks, is kind of the world before the network was a very amorphous one. I mean, you almost had to kind of luck into finding somebody that was able to grab these disparate professionals, bring them all together, and have them work for you. And it was almost luck of the draw, wasn't it, Marty?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah.
So now Marty creates the network, and now if I'm a network member, now I've got access to experts. How many experts do we have that are affiliated with the network?
Oh, I'd say we have over a dozen, but the member doesn't really tap into the network until way after the attorney is chosen, and it's really kind of the attorney's decision on what he needs as far as expertise. But we've got those people involved in the network that could come to their aid. But the main thing is to get a good attorney that can help you put on that self-defense case, and that's where the network really has taken a lot of time and energy to develop that attorney aspect of the network. And really, we're just a bunch of guys and gals, attorneys, experts, instructors, gun shops, and primarily the armed citizens who we decided, let's get together and network and make sure that we can have the support of that peer group. We've got over 300 attorneys now involved in the network. They're all members, just like you and I are, and those attorneys cover 48 of the 50 states. And so we're in pretty good shape as far as attorneys go.
And as an attorney, folks, I got to tell you that I look forward to those network emails that I get, because the network is constantly educating us. It's constantly poking us and prodding us to expand the general knowledge around this area of the law. And so I, as a network attorney, I've attended continuing legal education classes from the network. I've gotten DVDs from the network that frankly are better than anything that I might have been exposed to in law school. And so as an attorney, I'm a better educated attorney because of my affiliation with the network. And so here I can combine something that, one, I'm kind of passionate about, but two, I can be a better attorney without having to risk having to actually kind of do a trial on training wheels and risk some poor guy's life. I can learn a lot about this stuff ahead of time, and I can also probably call upon other network-affiliated attorneys and get their input as to whether or not my defense is going in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. That certainly is available to you as an attorney, and and maybe you decide, since you're primarily a civil litigator, that I really don't want to be the lead attorney in this first-degree murder case.
Right.
Well, we've got good criminal defense attorneys who understand self-defense law for you to associate with.
Right.
So okay, you can handle some of the stuff, the motions, you can do some of the depositions and all that stuff, but we've got those other criminal defense attorneys that can then rise to that occasion and handle the first-degree murder or second-degree murder or first-degree assault cases that are typically brought against armed citizens who do nothing more than use firearms as self-defense.
Folks, one of the ways I like to explain the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network to people who don't understand is this isn't legal insurance. This isn't a legal referral network. This is almost, in effect, like creating a large law firm. Sometimes, if you're in the corporate world, you go to a large law firm not for anything other than the fact that you figure, hey, they're going to have a tax guy in there, they're going to have a contracts guy in there, they're going to have a mess of paralegals, they're going to have a bunch of people that they can, in that group, rely upon to get them where they need to be to help me in my case. Well, this is the same kind of concept, folks. We basically have, in a sense, almost a 300 law firm group that then also happens to have in-house people that we can call up that are the who's who in the business of firearms experts. And if you've been watching the Zimmerman trial, you saw what was going on there. You saw how the battle of the experts was critical. I mean, Marty, if you were watching the trial like all of us were,
yeah.
and gosh, the expert, it almost was an ebb and a flow with the case based upon how good the last expert was.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. In fact, I think that Dr. Vincent DeMaio won that case for George Zimmerman. He was so clear in his description of the injuries that George had suffered and the potential for further injury if that attack against him had continued on, that I think he was the star and he won that case. Without him, it probably would have went the other way.
So folks, what we're trying to really get across here is you're going to need that good trained attorney. That good trained attorney is going to need resources. He's going to need phone numbers, people he can call, and that's really what the network offers. Now, Marty, what's it cost to be a member of the network?
$135 to join, and then $85 a year to keep your membership current. The reason we charge a little bit more for the first year is we're sending out 8 DVDs now that we just produced the eighth one, and that will go out to our members, and you can sit down. It's about 8 hours of training and education on use of deadly force and self-defense law. We've got a two-pronged mission here at the network. One is to educate the armed citizen regarding use of deadly force and self-defense and the aftermath of that use of deadly force. The second one is to be able to help protect them from a prosecutor run amok or a plaintiff's attorney who doesn't have anything to lose and everything to gain if they can get into your pockets. So that's the cost of it. $135 for the first year, $85 a month after that, $50 a year added on if you've got a spouse or
$85 a year after that.
Yeah.
$85 a year. Sorry.
What did I say?
He said $85 a month.
Oh, thank you.
So it's $85 a year, and guys, these DVDs are excellent. I actually, for our training school, I actually used Marty's. I've asked Marty. I said, hey, you know what? I saw this DVD. This is amazing. We play one of the DVDs in one of my training classes. I'm probably going to be incorporating more because they're just that good. And so now I'm a member of the network, and bam, something bad happens. Now, what are the kinds of things that I can hope to get if I approach the network and the network thinks that I've legitimately used self-defense?
Well, the first thing that happens is you need to contact your attorney, and then your attorney contacts me and said, listen, my client, Brian Halak, just got involved in a situation. We need to initiate an investigation. We need to give him legal representation. Brian tells me that you've got some money for him. And I'll say, darn right, describe the incident, and we'll pay up to $10,000 initially just to get him legal representation. That's not to defend an unmeritorious prosecution or lawsuit. That's just to make sure that his rights are protected, so he is not being hounded, being pushed by the police to give statements, that sort of thing. And what's critical is that Brian's legal team initiates an independent investigation of this incident. Make sure that the witnesses are nailed down as far as what they saw, so others can't come in later and say and convince the witnesses that they saw something else. It's just so important to have that investigation right now going. And so you'll get up to 10 grand initially. Then if you are going to be sued or prosecuted and you want additional funding, additional help from the network, then you basically come back to the network and says, okay, we're being prosecuted. We would like a grant of $50,000, $100,000, whatever you need to cover the cost of that lawsuit.
And right now in the budget, is there $100,000 to give?
Actually, there's about $300,000 to give now. So we've got the money there, and we can raise more money pretty easily through our 7,500 members. If the legal defense fund got hit hard with 2 or 3 cases, then I know that all I'd have to do is go out to the membership and say, guys, this is your membership organization. We need to build that money up, and we get 100 grand back in the fund immediately. Well, I know that.
And there have been auctions there to help out guys that have been in trouble. Now I'm gonna basically sort of interject something here that's going to be a counter that I know I'm going to get some YouTube comments here from some of you guys that aren't really crazy about the armed citizen sort of lifestyle, the concealed carry lifestyle. Guys, I'm here to tell you right now, this is not a network that's here to basically rally around gun owners and defend somebody who makes a bad decision with a gun. Marty, you look at each and every one of these cases, you review them with people that are in the know, and if somebody hasn't made a good decision, what's their outcome? Can they still rely upon the network to help them, even though they did something they really shouldn't have?
Yeah, when I put this together, I was concerned that we might end up helping somebody get off of a murder charge if we funded them, a huge amount of money. And so we put in place a process, basically a triage process, where we got into some of the best minds in the country. Tom Givens from Tennessee, Masad Ayub, Manny Capelson is on the advisory board now, Dennis Tula from the Tula Drill. He's one of our network affiliated, or not one of our board members. And so we've tapped into these experts to be able to look at a case and decide, yeah, this is likely a legitimate case of self-defense, and we should get behind it and fund that defense. It's going to be their decision, not mine, whether or not we give a large amount of money. We'll fund up to the 10 grand immediately, just make sure they have legal representation, but that's not for legal defense.
Right. So folks, this isn't some sort of conspiracy by gun guys to sort of get together to sort of back each other up. What this is here for you, the dedicated student, the dedicated armed citizen, the person who's tried to do everything right in their development of their own system of personal protection, and basically something that they can then augment that, take it to that next level. So if something should happen, they're ready to go. And frankly, we're talking about $85 a year, fairly paltry sum, considering that you could potentially, be able to fund a defense that might otherwise be economically crippling.
Right. If you've got $500,000 in resources, you probably don't need to be a member of the network. But most people don't have. They couldn't go to the bank and get a $500,000 loan without a whole lot of collateral. And so, we look at, we envision the idea that, a full-blown defense to a murder or manslaughter charge is going to be up to 100 grand. And we wanted to have that much money so we could have that immediately available, so there isn't any type of decisions, well, we'd like to get this guy on board, but we don't have the $10,000 that he's going to charge to help us out here. So it's just so important to have those resources, and we've got them now.
And guys, this isn't something that's theoretical. Marty's put this in place. It's been around for a number of years, and we're at the stage now where, Marty, you've actually had real cases. We had people that the network has come in to help out. They've been legitimately using self-defense. Somebody's gone after them, and the network said, no, you know what? We're here to back you up. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, in fact, we've got 4 cases now that where network members have been involved in incidents. They've requested our assistance. 3 of them have been adjudicated, and no charges were ever brought in court. You know, they were dismissed ahead of time. The 4th one is still pending, so I can't talk about it.
Okay, and the network also, if you want to go on their website, you'll see a link there on the screen. You got to take a look at it. Is the Larry Hickey story up there?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, guys, I highly recommend you go on to the website that you're going to see on the screen, and there's an excellent description of a guy that got prosecuted, got rang through the system. Frankly, after, as an attorney looking at it, I think without the network, he'd have been in a world of hurt.
Yeah, and he'll be the first to admit, and his attorney will be the first to admit that we really played a vital role in his eventually being exonerated of all charges against him. One other thought that I had, Brian, was that if you go to our website, click on the e-journal link and start reading some of those back e-journals. You'll find a wealth of information there. We've got over 50 issues now online that people can read through, and that's like a full book of information free of charge to people who just want to check us out and see what we're talking about.
Now, is the self-defense law booklet on there too?
Yeah, it is.
See, now frankly, I think Marty, my personal opinion is I think Marty should be charging money for this booklet. Guys, there's a booklet that's on their website, free of charge. You can download it, and it's better than 99% of the stuff that I see out there that's taught by live instructors. Download it, read it. It breaks down self-defense law in a really easily digestible format. Marty's giving this away basically for free so that you guys are prepared to understand what's involved. I think after reading the booklet, the real sense that you get is, hey, I need help, I need friends, this isn't something I could do on my own. Right. But you know what, at a minimum, it's there, it's free, and it's something you should check out. Marty, I want to thank you for your time. I know you got to get back and help out Mass with this class, but folks, go to that link on the screen, check out the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network. This is something that really, it's a unique program. It's something that it's in place, it's working, and it's designed for people like you. So from North Point Training Center, from Firearms Academy of Seattle, and from the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network, we appreciate you watching. Send us any comments that you have, and we'll catch you next time.
And thank you for taking the time to listen, guys.
All right.
Okay.
Good deal.